Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Fridays with Sandy. I'm John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Sandy Kreisberg is there. Hey, Sandy.
Shalom, everybody. Happy pre-Thanksgiving and happy Veterans Day for those of you in America.
And Sandy, I should remind everyone, is the founder of hbsguru.com, one of the leading MBA admission consultants in the world. And if you want to get into Harvard, you'd be hard pressed to find someone who knows more about Harvard admissions than Sandy. Today, we have a really interesting woman. Her name is Anna. She's 30 years old. She's from the Philippines. She's currently working in a specialty food importer and distributor firm with 10 million in annual revenues in the Philippines. She has a job in business development and strategy.
Now, John, forgive me a minute. Anna, isn't that your own family business?
Yes, it is.
That's important.
Yep, definitely important. And I should also say, and this is kind of important too, that Anna had trained to be an orthopedic surgeon, spent 5 years in a residency and decided that wasn't for her and joined the family business as her mother was trying to wind down her role as the founder and CEO. She has a 740 GMAT. She graduated in the top 5% of her class at the University of the Philippines. And her target schools, Harvard, Stanford, MIT, Wharton, Berkeley Haas, NCEAD, and CEIBS in Shanghai. So what do you think?
Well, let's deal with the real important question about, HBS. I think this is what we got here is a female candidate. That's a small plus. 740 GMAT, that's a big plus. A Magna, very high class rankings at the University of the Philippines. I think coming from the Philippines would be a small plus. I'm not sure. Anna, do you know like how many people at Harvard Business School have Philippine passports?
Based on my research, I think I know 3 or 4 that are currently at HBS from the Philippines.
Yeah, so they probably take 2 a year. I think at other business schools coming from the Philippines would be a plus, just because they don't get a lot of applicants, and they're always looking for all kinds of diversity. So you present diversity of being a doctor. You're a woman, which is a plus, and you come from I would say, underrepresented geography and country. So you got a lot going for you. Being 30 is, I would call, the outer range of acceptable. I would call it the outer range of normal. It's well explained by your background in medical school and medical preparation. It will, however, mean that you'll be 33 when you graduate, which it could be a problem for someone not going into their own family business, but in your case, actually could be a plus. So you got a lot going for you.
You should say what you want to do post MBA, which is actually to join a startup in the United States, either in healthcare or in healthy food products.
Yeah, is that correct, Anna?
Yes, at this point, I'm not, at this point, it's kind of open, right?
Yeah, okay, let me repeat the tough love I gave you during our pre-show. You got to present yourself as someone who's interested in taking over and expanding your family business. You're part of a family business. The family business is a good sized business in the Philippines. You've got to say, my goal is to become a leader in my family business and expand it into adjacent spaces like healthy foods, blah, blah, and blah. Could you complete that sentence?
So my plan my plan post MBA would be to return to my family business after perhaps a short time at a startup in the US, where I will eventually want to expand the family business into adjacent spaces, such as creating our own brands and also possibly into drug distribution, because those spaces are very close together, although they may not seem like it.
Yeah, no, I can see it. I can see that they're adjacent. Good. What startup would you want to work with in the US and why? You
Oh,
know, you're 30.
so
Why don't you, you know, you'll be 33 when you graduate. So if you join a startup for a couple of years, you're going to be 36 when you rejoin the family business. Is that a problem?
no, I don't see it as a problem because I think that the time that I spend getting my MBA and getting experience might actually put me ahead rather than if I spent the next 5 years in the family business. Of course, that's I have to consider that I'll be giving up time, etc. But I think in terms of the multiplier effect, when I come back, I think
John, tell me if you agree with this. Some more tough love. Drop that work for a startup story. It complicates things. It doesn't add value, and it just introduces the hint that you're really not interested in your family business.
Well, and remember now, what you say doesn't mean that that's what you do. What we're trying to do here is to position you in the best possible light.
Yeah, you've got to be all in on, I'm here, I'm from the Philippines, my family has an established business that I think is, silver, and I want to turn it into gold. I want to expand it into these adjacent areas, and I foresee the business in 10 years as being this size with these products. That's the mindset you've got to go in there. And there's no other thinking. And then the question becomes, why do you want an MBA? Seems like you're doing that now.
Yeah, because you want more sophisticated business skills.
I think like I totally agree with you. I just wanted to I don't know if I'm mistaken in sort of my perception, but I always thought that when you give a post MBA goal, I thought that it had to be something small, not something like
The post MBA goal is it's not a matter of large or small. It's a matter of, does it make sense? And in your case, it makes perfect sense. I want to rejoin my family business.
Yeah, it makes sense that you would be getting essentially finishing school to become the CEO of your family business.
At some point, there might be a transition period, but that's what you're getting an MBA for. One thing you want to get an MBA for is to manage other people, other managers, because what you see happening in your family business, it will have a more hierarchical structure where you'll be managing people who themselves are managing people. So that's what you want to get an MBA for. Also, I think HBS has a whole family business. I don't know if what you call it a major, but they've got people there who are experts on family business. Have you researched those people?
Yes, I've done a little bit of research on it. I think each top business school has like a family business focused or specialization.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you gotta.
I know
Actually,
Columbia also.
let me give some advice here. The president of the Harvard Business School Club of the Philippines went to Harvard 5 years ago. He was president of the Family Business Club. He currently lives in Manila. He looks like a really nice guy. His name is Hans Latta, Latta. He is a person you should be contacting.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I'll take
a great
Hans
tip.
Latta, president of the Philippines Harvard Business School Alumni Club, which seems to be quite active. And it looks like he's got a background that's very, very similar to yours.
Okay, so what John has given you is great advice. Network with that guy. He could be super, super helpful.
Mhm.
As a, we're going to call him a third recommender. Tell our folks what that is, John.
Well, he could be, if he writes a note to Chad after having graduated from Harvard, and he was president of the Family Business Club, and looks like he's quite successful, and he's president of the Alumni Club, which is very active in the Philippines. That would carry some weight.
Yeah, if he could write a letter, not a formal recommendation, but a letter
Just a
to
follow-up letter.
either to the director of admissions or the dean of the business school, saying, "I've met this woman. I've spoken with her. This woman is going to have a tremendous impact in the Philippines. I was just swept off my feet. She's dynamic, she's impactful, and I don't want to tell you guys how to run your business, but I believe she is a very, very high potential candidate."
Yeah, and this guy's very well connected. He has over 500.
This guy knows how to write letters like that, believe me.
Okay, I'll get on that. I think. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
call him up.
This is
Call him up and go.
more
and have
important
coffee
than
with him.
anything else you're going to hear today. That guy could make stuff happen.
Mhm.
And
And I think he's going to like you because he obviously is very involved in family business, and he's from the Philippines.
yeah,
And he's a recent grad. He's not an old guy. He only
Yeah,
graduated
hey.
in 2018.
he'll propose a merger between your two companies. You won't have to go to business school. You'll be running the merged company. Good.
So I think that's good advice.
Okay,
Yes.
that's great advice, and that's more important advice than anything we're going to do. But let's just run out the string here. In terms of a mock interview, very often they'll ask candidates from underrepresented countries, what do you want your classmates to know about the Philippines?
Okay, so I think what's the most important thing I want people to know about the Philippines is we're just starting to take advantage of something called the population dividend. So we have a huge population with a median age of about 21, 22, and they're going to school. They're learning about all these things. They want to have a better life, and they're gonna have families, and the families are gonna these families.
Yeah, that's one thing. I wouldn't mention that first. This question for everybody out there: if you come from a, kind of a underrepresented country, and they say, "What do you want your HBS classmates to know about your country?" The answer is, well, I hope they know where it's located. I hope they know that it's a democracy or whatever it is. That would you call the Philippines an undeveloped, developing, or developed country?
It's a developing country.
Developed?
Yes.
Developing.
Developing, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's a developing country. It's located wherever it's located. It's currently its key. Its economy is based on this, and this. In terms of starting a business in the Philippines, you probably need a local partner, and powerful, interesting companies that are Philippine-based are 1, 2, and 3. That's the model answer for what do you want your classmates to know about your underrepresented country.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Hey, Anna, first question. What do you want your classmates to know about the Philippines?
So first of all, I'd like them to know that the Philippines is a developing country of about 107 million people in the South Pacific. we're an archipelago composed of 7,000 islands, and maybe some popular businesses that you wouldn't know come from the Philippines is number one, Jollibee. Jollibee is one of the largest fast food companies in the world, and they've recently purchased companies such as Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, Pret in the UK, etc. Number two would be that we're the call center or BPO capital of the world because we have over 70% English fluency. And lastly, we're the largest provider of ship workers, marine workers for cargo ships, etc., as well as nurses. So we have a very highly skilled labor force.
Good. That was excellent. Don't you think, John?
Yeah, really good.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Thank you for the prompt.
You're a quick study. You're going to do great. Okay. Then the next question would be, boy, that's great. Could you tell me what you're doing now?
Okay, so I work in business development and strategy, as mentioned earlier. What that looks like on a day-to-day basis is I manage sales.
No, there's no mentioned earlier. This is an interview question.
Oh, sorry.
Let's pretend it's a mock interview. The first question was, what do you want your classmates to know about the Philippines? And then the second question is, what are you doing now?
Okay, so I work in business development and strategy at my family's family-owned food and beverage importer and distributor. What I do on a daily basis is I set targets and also help the sales teams achieve those targets. But on a larger role, I help the company identify new brands and new partners to work with, new brands to bring in.
You're all confused. The first thing you have to do is say, I work at my family business. The name of the business is the Silver Wave Corporation. It's a business that does blah, blah, and blah. You got to get that framing in there, okay? And within that frame, this is what I do. This is real important. That's a real important outline for anyone who works at a family business to have totally under control if they're getting a business school interview. So you're a quick study. I just told you the answer. Let's hear it.
So I work for Silver Wave Corporation, which is a family-owned food and beverage importer distributor in the Philippines.
Yeah, my family-owned.
My family-owned business, my family-owned food and beverage distributor in the Philippines. And what I do in the business, which I have joined for the last 3.5 years, is business strategy and a business development and strategy. So what I do on a daily basis is I manage sales teams to set and hit targets. But on a larger scale, I help the business identify new opportunities to enter. Like over the last.
Okay, good. Blah blah blah. You work that up. You could get that was acceptable. You could make it better. What kind of manager are you? Whenever you say in a business school interview that I manage blah blah, they'll say, "What kind of manager are you?"
I see myself as a manager that. I see myself as sort of a flexible type of manager, meaning there are certain people on my team that can be left alone, especially ones that have been in the business longer than me. So I just let them do their thing. But
Yeah,
what I try to provide newer employees is sort of the attention that they need in order to understand their role and really succeed in our organization.
That's acceptable. The official version of that is I try and manage different people in different ways, whatever is needed. So we've got some senior people, and managing them is really kind of hands off unless there's a crisis. But in terms of other resources, I try and find out what's going on. I try and run. Well, is this true? It's not the company is not a flat management. It's not a flat company. It's a hierarchy.
Yes, I manage.
Yeah, and the company is a hierarchy. So I've got to be mindful of that. And, I report to whoever you report to, and the people who report to me I try and make it clear what we want, what can be done, and how we can move forward. Who's the best man? Here's another one of their tricky, not tricky, absolutely standard but difficult question. Who's the best manager you ever worked for?
So I think the best manager I ever worked for was probably my boss in residency. She was maybe about 5 years older than me. And I think the most important thing about her that I want to share is that we can, residency or in the hospital can be a very stressful place. And sometimes things can get quite heated, and something she always told me was that if you're having a disagreement with someone, the most important thing is never humiliate your juniors. Always take them aside.
What was the reason she said that? Was this just general advice, or was this some situation that gave birth to it?
Oh no. Whenever
who had you insulted?
no, I didn't insult anybody, but more of like, for example, if you made a mistake, the best thing to do is take the person aside and explain to them and talk to them, rather than sort of berate them in a large group where potentially patients are there and other residents are there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
She said that's sort of common sense. Maybe I'm wrong.
No,
what else? Did she say anything else? Or maybe in the medical world, public insults are quite common. I don't know. Anyway, be prepared.
And I have another.
Sure, let's hear it.
Sorry, the head of the department, the one who's writing me a recommendation letter. He was a great manager because the very first day I met him, I was just a clerk and I wanted to do more in orthopedic surgery. And when I was sitting in his office, he asked me, "So what do you want?" And actually, it was the first time someone had asked me that. I was offering to work for them, and he said, "Well, you told me what I can do for you, but you told me what you can do for me, but what can I do for you?" And I think a good manager should really understand what everyone wants to get out of the experience, right? It's not just a
this is turning into just disorganized conversation. I was about to say blather, but that might be insulting. So my advice to you is you really got to get your answers shorter and to the point. And what you do is you think aloud, and a lot of people do that. That doesn't work so well in these interview settings where, particularly at HBS, they ask simple questions that they expect you to be able to answer. They don't ask you trick questions where you got to go, "Well, I'll answer that question. Let me get my computer out here." All right. They don't ask questions like that. They ask simple questions like, "Who's the best leader you ever worked for?" You should be able to answer that. You should be able to say why. Real clear, real fast. And you got to be all in.
So Sandy, what do you think Anna's chances are at Wharton, MIT, Berkeley?
With a 740 GMAT, with a medical background, with a high, I think her chances at all those schools are great if she can convince them that she's all in.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the question. Here's one of the real important questions you have to be able to answer. How come you stopped being a doctor?
I think, long story short, what I realized was, so I decided to become a doctor when I was 15. I went into college when I was 15, and how many 15-year-olds do you think can accurately predict what they're going to do for the rest of their lives? Although I really enjoyed medicine and I have total respect for doctors and the work that they do, I found that clinical medicine was just not for me. at the end of the day. I wanted to have a larger, I guess, network effect. And I think that the limited role that doctors have in the healthcare system, at least in my country, didn't do it for me. Should I, if I were to
No,
go
you
back?
need a better answer than that. Let me try this out. I could be wrong. John, tell me what you think.
Sure.
I loved being a doctor. I wanted to be a doctor when I was a kid, and I loved becoming a doctor. What I discovered once I was a doctor, particularly in the Philippines, is that your impact was by patient by patient by patient. And I had met people who were having impacts beyond themselves and beyond this small patient by patient thing. And a couple of events made me think about having a larger impact. And then I began to think that I could transform my family business as a result of 1 and 2. So the combination with the limited role that I saw doctors having in the Philippines and the possibility of transforming my family business, that process, which took place over a couple of years, was how I got both pulled out of medicine into the family business and a little bit of pushed out.
Okay,
I'm waiting
I'll
for John's. I'm waiting for John's judgment.
Well, I think the only piece missing here is the fact that her mother was the founder of this business and was seeking to diminish her role. And so this is an opportunity not only to go into the family business, but to also help ease this transition for her mother.
Okay, good. But it's a hard question. You have to start by saying, I always wanted to be a doctor, and I went to medical school. I actually enjoyed it, and and when I became a surgical resident, I enjoyed that. But one of the disappointments of it was that you were only having an impact, albeit a very powerful one, on one person at a time. And then other things happened on the other side.
Now let's think about the psychology of the answer. What Sandy's trying to do is to put a more positive spin on it, right? So, and it's not that it's not true. I'm sure that it is. If from the age of 15, your passion and desire was to become a doctor and you got that far, that's a big achievement. And I think you should paint it in a positive way. And then obviously it wasn't for you. And your explanation is Sandy's explanation in with more detail. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, detail, yeah, that
Well, the individual
wasn't for you in positive ways, that you were having a great impact on people, but it was only one at a time.
right.
And you might also say the medical culture in the Philippines, you could say this, the medical culture in the Philippines is both hierarchical and a little bit macho. I assume that's true.
Yeah, it's very
That's true.
This is real important. You've got to take everything we've just told you and internalize it and be able to present it in a clear way. It's that question has got to come up. Okay.
Well, there you have it. You know, we think you're going to get in.
I think if you can, I think you should get interviewed, given
Oh yeah.
740, the high grades, Philippines, docs.
So you don't think I should try and take it again, or because I've seen
No,
tell other
No,
people.
not the 740.
you don't need it. You don't need it. Don't do it.
You'd be better off studying your answer to why you're giving up medicine than getting a 750. Believe me.
If I had to guess what the median score of a woman at Harvard Business School is, I would bet it's at least 10 to 20 points below the overall median. Am I wrong or am I right? Sandy, you think it's the median for women at Harvard is 710, not 730?
I don't know, but 740 is nothing. It's fine.
It's really good.
You're not going to do any better.
Yeah, totally. Rather than do that, pick up the phone, call Hans Latta.
Yeah, right.
Say you want to have lunch with them or coffee. Say, I'm really impressed that you were head of the Family Business Club at Harvard, and you're so involved in the Alumni Association as president in the Philippines. I am a candidate. I'm a very serious candidate, and I really want to just talk to you about your experience and what it was like, and get some advice from you.
Yeah, well, I would
know the guy.
Here's the question. Yeah, I agree with John. Technical question. How do you get Hans Latta? I don't think you can just call that guy up. Maybe you can.
He's on LinkedIn.
I'll find a way.
Oh yeah. I mean, look, you're in a $10 million business.
Networking is the way to do it. Find someone who knows him. That's the way to do it. Yeah, it sounds like that's not going to be a problem. You're a natural networker.
Candidate. You're articulate. You're thoughtful. You've already achieved a lot in your life. Now it's just, tightening up your application and the way.
Yeah, one of the reasons I gave up surgery was there was no one to network with. The patient was unconscious.
Don't say that. He's joking. Okay.
No, thank you very much for the tough love. I mean, this is why I wanted to submit my profile in the first place.
Good.
I really appreciate the feedback,
And good luck to you.
Okay, thank you.
We'll see you in Boston, or maybe we'll see you in Berkeley, or maybe we'll see you in Fontainebleau or Philadelphia. We'll see you somewhere.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Take care.
Adios.
You've been watching Fridays with Sandy and Anna from the Philippines. I'm John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Thanks for tuning in.